Hello, hello, hello,
Hello.
YouTube.
Hello, YouTube.
Welcome back to yet another podcast. And by the way, please do excuse me and Sharon. I'm sick, Sharon is tired, and
Yeah.
the energy is gonna be drained out in this video. But we still are recording this content for you guys, so please do show massive love and support on this video by doing the usual.
The usual. You guys know it. Just do it. Like, share,
Yeah.
subscribe, blah, blah, blah. All that.
Yeah, if you're a returning subscriber, much love and warm hugs to you. Fuck
Warm
man, I
hugs,
still
yeah.
kind of fuck this intro up all the time. But anyways, much love to you for your continued love and support with us on this channel. And we are trying to keep the intro as short as possible. So welcome to this podcast, a new podcast about
About one of the most
yep.
one of the most terrifying incidents that could have ever happened in America back in the 1980s. This one.
And by the way, this
Is it-
is correlated to our previous cast.
Oh yes, go check it out.
Yeah, do check it out. You guys haven't watched it. There is not much
Yes.
love and support shown on that one. Please do go and show some love over there, because we take a lot of effort in making this video. This is not like the previous contents anymore. There's a lot of work put into it. There's a whole team working on it. So yeah, please do show your love and support. And anyways, cutting the chase, getting into the case. Let's dive right in. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
So yep, Shan, let us know what the case is about.
I don't know how many of you have heard of this name called James Oliver Huberty. Am I right?
Yep, James Oliver
Yep.
Huberty.
The man of the hour. This guy. I don't even know where to start on this
The
case.
man, the myth,
honestly
but
speaking.
not the legend.
Not the legend.
Sadly.
And that's
Not the
facts.
legend. The man of the hour. Blah blah blah. Cut that crap.
Yep,
Does it really matter?
doesn't really matter.
you know-
But yeah, we can start the story in multiple places. We can start it right off
We
the
can
bat, breaking some glasses.
Wait, let's kind of give like a, it was a nice little morning, like casual morning that you would like to go and have breakfast with your family. That's what was happening in San Ysidro's McDonald's when.
But rewind.
You'll have to wait for it.
Yep, you'll have to wait for it, because I need to tell you guys about the early life. Because honestly speaking, I feel here in this case the early life has played off a major role in this case, at least.
Yeah, it has.
Yep.
Let us know what happened.
Yep.
I have kind of a brief.
You do have a vague idea, because we did research
Yeah.
about this earlier. You do have a vague idea. It's just the
Not
same.
entirely.
It's like the part which I know, she has a vague idea about. The part which she knows, I have a vague idea about. So we both are
Yeah.
trying to tell it to each other. So this is going to be a talk show kind of thing, and you guys are just tagging along with us, watching it and enjoying. So yep, getting into the early life. The man called James Oliver Huberty was born in the October of 11th, 1942. To Earl Vincent Huberty and Eichel, what's that name? Avalon Huberty. That
Yes.
Avalon, I don't know how you pronounce it. It is what it is.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. She's there. She's the mom.
She's the mom. And James Oliver Huberty is the second child to this pair.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Second child. And everyone knows that the second child is very much treasured, The second child is usually pampered a lot. Sharon cannot relate, but yeah, I can, because I've been pampered quite a lot.
Didn't have to do me like that, but okay.
So yep, moving on. This family was a pretty religious, devout family. They would visit the church every week and religiously without fail.
Okay.
And if they got chances to visit more, they would do that happily.
Relatable.
I can't. I really don't understand religion at times. Everyone is the same to me. So, yeah. Human is a human, and we all are the same. So, yeah, they would visit this church called as the United Methodist Church in the United
Okay.
States, in the city of Ohio, Canton, USA, basically where he was born itself.
Okay.
And sadly, when James was 3 years old, he contracted polio. Back then, polio was quite a big deal, you know. Everyone was kind of getting
Okay.
polio, so it was a common theme back then. And James ended up getting polio. When he was 3 years old, he would have to wear steel and leather braces in order to walk.
Okay.
At such a young age, that can be a little traumatic. All right, you
Yeah,
don't get to know what's happening as a kid, but your parents do know, and they do feel bad about it, and that can rub off on you as well.
Yep. Pretty much. At such a young age, yeah, it can have a major impact.
Yep. Although thankfully he did recover really quick, but moving on ahead with his life, as he proceeded into his teen years, the lingering effect, the lingering whatever you call it, side effect or the residual thing lingered on, and he had a mild limp for the rest of his life.
Oh.
Yep. So he would,
Okay.
his walking was not normal as us, because I know what limping literally is, because I was limping for a year straight after I had broken my leg. So yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah,
can
yeah.
be a pain. That can be a pain. Limping looks easy. You feel you're just hopping on your leg and going,
Yeah.
but it does hurt on several parts of the bones. Anyways, in 1950, Earl Vincent ends up buying this 155-acre land, which is a farming land in this place
Okay.
called the Mount Eaton. Now, you know farming places, right, Sean? These farming lands are usually always remote and in rural areas.
Yeah.
Tough to get to the city for your regular needs, whatever. So,
True.
because of
That's true.
because of this sole nature of this property, Eichel straight up denied stepping in the property first of all.
Wow.
Hell, even looking at the property for that matter. She never even saw the property to begin with.
Just for this reason alone.
Yep. But anyways, whatever happened, and what ends up happening is, the reason why Eichel refuses to go to the farmhouse is straight up because she wants to stay as a roadside preacher, as a part of this Pentecostal
Oh my
church. Sorry, Pentecostal missionary in Tucson.
Okay.
Yep. She wanted to be a preacher basically. So she abandoned the family.
Oh wow, she abandoned the
Yep.
family?
She abandoned the
Wow.
family. She left the house. She left her kids, her husband, and moved to the city of Tucson to be a part of this Pentecostal missionary, to be a roadside preacher. This is where religion gets out of hand, but not
Agree.
speaking about
But-
it. Not speaking about
Yeah.
it because that can trigger people. Fine, whatever floats your boat, you do it, but you do need to consider a few things, like you've got a family to take care of.
Exactly.
But anyways, this ends up taking a major toll on the family, especially on James' life.
Makes sense.
He was just a young little boy. What, this was 1950, 8 years. He was just 8 years old when he was abandoned by his mom. And
Makes sense.
to make it even worse, he already was suffering from his
Polio?
minor limp,
Yeah.
and had
the limp.
had a polio whatever thing back then. But they all continued on with their lives, as usual,
Okay.
as you would expect. But
Mm-hmm.
since it was taking a toll on his life, one day what happens is, how I know that it was taking a toll on his life was basically a statement made by James' dad,
Okay.
Earl Vincent. One day he
Mm-hmm.
was working at his farm, and then he ends up going to the barn house, probably to pick up some equipments, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Why else would you go to the barn house? Maybe to take a bit of break or pick up
Yeah.
equipments.
Or just tend to the animals over there
Tend to the
if
animals.
there
Yep.
are.
He ends up walking into the barn. He
Mhm.
sees his younger boy, James,
Mhm.
slumped against a chicken coop and just sobbing.
Damn. Damn, that must have been some high level of depression.
Yep. I can only imagine what that boy must be going through at that point of time, at such a young age, not having a mother, having his own demons to fight with.
Yep.
It kind of
Makes sense.
sometimes I pity these people, but then at the same time I feel the steps which they took later on in their life, not really.
Hmm.
They shouldn't have. Probably they could
Yeah.
have done something better. But yeah, the worst comes to worse. It takes a toll on him again. And now at this point of time, he's at his teens, and most of his family members look at him as this timid, introverted little boy.
Mm-hmm.
A boy with a queer attitude and
Okay.
a short temper, especially towards a few friends of his. And there is a reason behind this. Basically, he was picked on in his school because of his physical disability,
Oh.
his devout nature, religious nature,
Hmm.
and his weird habits.
See, now for a small boy going through so much in life, it does affect a person differently. Come on, there's only so much a human can take.
Yep. But again, at the same point of time, you should consider that these things can change someone for the worse at times. It can take a toll in such a way that there is no return from that. It creates darker and deeper wounds.
Yeah, makes sense.
So what ends up happening is for some reason, he ends up picking this weird little enthusiasm towards target practicing, up to such a level that to his later teen life, he ends up becoming an amateur gunsmith. If you don't know what a gunsmith is, basically people who make guns, repair guns, and all that.
I mean, see, if it's towards the good side, fine. People do it for a sport as well.
Yeah.
This can go towards the bad side too.
Yep. And it does. Holy shit, it does.
It does. Holy shit, yeah, it does.
In his high school days, Oliver was not that great in academics.
Mm-hmm.
He was somewhere average. So he did graduate as an average scholar. In a class of 77, he was ranked 51st in the high school of Wayndale in 1960.
Okay.
In the year 1960, he completes his schooling. He's out. He is looking for colleges. You know, the regular drill of
Yeah,
a
yeah.
human being. He finally gets enrolled in this college called the Malone College in the year 1962.
Mm-hmm.
He enrolls as a sociology student.
Okay.
Yep. But in a span of few months, I guess, he's probably done with it. He doesn't want to continue as a sociology student anymore, and then he quits that college and opts for another one called the Pittsburgh
Oh.
Institute of Mortuary Sciences. Now, one might ask, what is mortuary sciences?
Yeah, I was
Yep.
just about to.
A college which deals with subjects that are dead.
You mean like
dead people,
Human
postmortems,
dead people?
funerals, and all those kind of things.
Ah,
Road kills,
okay.
anything dead, how to handle it.
Okay. That
Yep.
has a name like this. Okay.
Yep. So he continues studying. Studying over there. He finishes his course. It's not mentioned which year he passes out, but yeah, he finishes
Okay.
his course with the fucking honors.
Wow.
An average student
Not
getting
a
an
joke
honors.
for an average student.
Yep. He ends up getting an honors and gets his license for funeral services. And a year later, he also acquires a license for embowelers specialists.
Damn. Embowelers is basically your postmortem thingy, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Getting a body ready for funeral.
Yeah.
Emptying up the insides, stuffing it with whatever the stuff is. I don't know what it is called, but yeah.
Right.
After he passes his college, he falls in love with his previous college sweetheart named Etna Markland from
Okay.
the Malone College, where he was
okay.
a sociology student. So was she. So they end up falling in love with each other. They get married. Soon after his marriage, James gets employed in a funeral home
Oh.
as an embowler, for which he had a honorary license.
Yep.
And since he had an honorary license, that really does tell us a lot about how good he was at his work. He was very proficient. Many of the people at his work did compliment his work, and they looked up at his efficiency as well. But as I told earlier, he was an introverted
Yes.
person. He was withdrawn. He had kind of a short. I mean, obviously you cannot be that short-tempered at your workplace, but yeah, that still reflects, right? If you are,
It
you
still
are.
reflects, yeah.
It still does. So this kind of put him on bad terms with his superiors.
Yeah, that's kind of a
Yep.
given. If
Yep.
you can't behave at work.
Yeah. So he ends up quitting his job at the funeral home. For a brief amount of time, he did try starting up his own funeral home, which did not work out. Because it takes massive.
It takes money, it
Yeah,
takes
it takes
time.
money, yeah.
It's a lot of
Although
support,
he
yeah.
was earning big money when he was an embowler, but still it didn't work out. So he ends up switching his job to a welder. Again, proves himself to be very proficient. And at this point of time, he was even working overtimes, to be on good pages with his employers.
Employers?
He
Okay.
was working under a contract basis. So he was a contractor, welder. He would work for clients, take money, and go.
Okay.
He was really good, and because of his overtimes that he would do, he was paid really high prices.
Makes sense.
Yep. But sadly, unfortunately, for some reason, they had to move out of there, and he had to change his job all over again. And this time, he had to become a security guard. Probably did not get a good job and landed a security guard's job.
How many jobs does this guy switch?
I have no idea. Actually, the thing is, I'm not really very clear about when he became a security guard. Was it later on in his life, or as soon as he moved to Massillon, Ohio?
Massillon.
Yeah, Massillon, Ohio. Not sure if he switched his job at that point of time or later on. But yeah, sadly, as if everything in his life wasn't enough, another tragedy strikes. His house burns down.
Wow, man, this guy never had anything smooth for him.
Nope. But
Wow.
luckily everyone was safe. His wife
Okay.
and everyone in the house was safe, and they moved down a few blocks.
Mm-hmm.
They started living over there, and a year later, they ended up renovating the burnt down property as a
Mm-hmm.
6 unit apartment for rental purposes. So this guy was earning kaching monies.
Catching money.
Yeah, he was
Nice.
earning because renting in
Yeah.
USA, you know, I don't
Hmm.
have to tell anything else. Plus, he was working. I guess at this point he was working as a welder. So yeah, he was still earning a lot. And
Yeah.
in the year 1972 and 1974, they have
Hmm.
two daughters, Zelia and Cassandra, respectively.
Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is where the story starts getting a little darker. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even before marriage, even before having his daughters, it was known that Huberty did have a bit of violent side to him. His inner demons
Okay.
would spill out here and there a little bit. His temper would show
Mm-hmm.
up.
Mm-hmm.
He would have arguments with his wife, fights. Although Etna does tell it as a matter of fact that he has never hit her. Although in one of the previous interviews, she did mention him punching her once.
Mm-hmm.
But in latter interviews, she just literally redacted that kind of thing, and she just stood against it. She was like, nah, he didn't. I don't know why, but yeah. Also,
For
he...
fear, maybe. I don't know.
No, there's no fear. He was dead. Interviews, post,
Oh.
murder.
Oh.
I
That's
don't
weird.
understand why, but yeah.
Hmm.
And he was also known for domestic violence against his children as well. To such a point that he would punch them, beat them, kick them, bruise them, throw them around,
Hmm.
and hold a knife up to one of his daughter's necks. Yep. And on one occasion, there was an emergency call registered by Etna telling that my husband has messed up my daughter's jaw. But in the
Mm-hmm.
later interviews, again, when asked, she just withdrew that information and was like, no, nothing like that had ever happened. I don't know. This could be speculation by other people which has crept into the reports.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea, but it is what it is. I found it.
It is what
I got
it
it
is.
for you guys. I presented it over here. So yeah. And then from here till the day, his life was pretty much on the same track.
Mm-hmm.
Everything on a loop. Same shit happening every day.
Okay.
Although one thing he did try to fix himself quite a lot.
So, before we head into the most important, the core of this whole case, there were two things that got missed out. One is you need to remember that, if you remember, we said that this man was into target practice. For the very same reason, he had some weird obsession about keeping guns in his house. So literally, if some neighbor of his claimed that there were so many guns at his place that he could literally just reach out anytime and he can pull out a gun. So guns were everywhere. That was one thing. Second, I think these people had moved to San Ysidro
Yeah.
towards the end of 1980, somewhere around that time. And if you don't know, San Ysidro is in San Diego. So yeah, these are two important things you need to remember. Now, coming to the core.
And the fact that you said he had many guns. Nowadays, if you see, back then it was a different case, but yeah, people are still people. They do have the same likes and dislikes. ever since the
Yep.
dawn of humanity. Now that there is YouTube, we are seeing it. Nowadays there are gun ranch YouTubers who have massive collection of guns, who rent out guns on daily basis to showcase it on their channel. Some of them are even collectors who showcase their guns, so they do
Yeah.
own a shit ton of guns. So he could have been from that perspective itself.
Could have. I mean, he was a gunsmith, so you can say he kind of had an obsession towards.
He was an amateur gunsmith, not a professional one though.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's cut to July 15, 1984. At this point of time, Huberty just randomly goes up to his wife and tells her, "Hey, listen, I think I might have a mental health issue," which is a good thing, by the way.
Kudos to him. Usually people
Yeah.
with mental issues don't reach out. They think
Don't reach
I
out.
might be judged. Because hell, he had so many problems back in the day.
He
Getting up
did,
another
he
one,
did.
you never know. People might throw shit on him again.
He did. And with all his job switching, losing jobs, trying for another one, losing job, it can get to a person's,
Yeah.
head. So yeah, he goes up to his wife, he tells his wife that he might have a mental health issue. So his wife suggests that he contact a professional. And so Huberty contacted San Diego Mental Health Clinic, and he goes on to say that, I have a mental health issue, I think there might be some problem with me, blah blah blah. But the problem that happened here was he was way too polite in expressing and way too calm about expressing his whole situation, that the person attending to him, the nurse or whoever it was who was attending to him, mistook it for a completely different thing. She claims that because of his polite demeanor and the fact that he had not, been hospitalized for his mental health before, and since it was his first time, she just didn't sense any urgency in his situation. So they just put it under a non-crisis situation, which will usually be taken care of within the next 48 hours, but it will
Which
be
is
prioritized less.
exactly what I said. Which was exactly what I said in my previous cast also. Sometimes even professional help can fail you utterly, and you will feel betrayed at that point of time.
And that's facts.
Yeah, see, there's no one to blame over here, to be really honest.
Yeah, I get that. But again, it does kind of feel like you've been left out. He was way too polite, first of all, which is a good thing. You need to be polite when you're talking to someone. You can't really go up to their face and be like, "Hey, motherfucker, I am sick." You can't do that.
You can't do that. So I think he just meant well. He
Few-
just wanted to talk
Few
it out.
things in the system needs to change, wherein if a person is talking politely, doesn't mean that person is out of danger. You need to assess the situation and then prioritize who comes next.
Yep. So yeah, once this call was done, his wife Etna, her name is Etna, right?
Yeah, Etna, Markland,
Yeah.
Huberty. Yeah.
Yeah. So his wife Etna claims that she saw Huberty waiting by the telephone for several hours, just waiting for someone to call back, which is a very sad sight. Just waiting for someone to call back, and he probably lost it.
No calls
Because
returned, I'm
he's-
guessing.
No calls returned, so
See.
he just stormed out of the house and came back several hours later. God knows where. He just took his bike and just went to an unknown destination. This was July 15th. Cut to July 17th. The family, as a whole, they just decide to have a nice little day out. And so they go to a zoo. They go to San Diego Zoo. They have a nice... Oh, sorry, this is July 18th. My bad. They go to San Diego Zoo, have a great morning, go back to a McDonald's restaurant, eat some nice food, and come back. Now, it was during this time, I think, when they were having a nice time at the zoo,
Mm-hmm.
Huberty makes a very important statement saying, his life was effectively over.
Mm-hmm.
And when his wife was probably kind of confused as to why he said that, he just said, well, society had its chance. And then, cut to when they come back home, Mr. Huberty walks into the bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
kisses his wife's forehead.
Wait, this
And
was
he's like-
the day they had visited the zoo, is it?
Yes, they had visited the zoo in the morning. They came back home by mid-noon or something like that.
And they had
And-
breakfast at McDonald's and then head
Yes,
back home.
they had breakfast at McDonald's and they came back home. He walks into the bedroom, kisses his wife's forehead, just goes like, I just wanted to kiss you, goodbye. And so his wife goes like, what do you mean? Where
Obviously
are you going?
thrown off.
Yeah, she just thought he might be going somewhere, so she mentioned the fact that she's going to be making lunch, so she wanted to know if he'll be coming back.
Yeah.
What's the whole thing? So he just goes like, I'm going hunting
Mm-hmm.
for humans, and just walks out of the bedroom.
Okay. Dark statement made.
Walks out of the bedroom. Remember, like I said, he had a lot of guns at his place. Armed himself with an Uzi, a shotgun, and a semi-automatic pistol. Goes into his daughter's room and says, I
he
won't
carried
be
on.
coming back.
He carried on his whole arsenal, isn't it?
He did. Definitely did. He just goes, walks into his daughter's bedroom, goes like, I won't be coming back. And then just walks out of the house.
He gets
Takes
on
the
his
car.
motorcycle. Oh, car.
No, the
Okay.
car. Yes.
I was
Takes the
getting
car.
excited with the motorcycle.
It's not always a motorcycle.
Come on.
I mean, he had guns. He probably had to, stuff everything back.
I mean, I can't relate, but yeah, I get it. I do carry luggage at times and like go.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Yeah, so he drives into the parking lot of, I think, another McDonald's, not the same one in which they ate in the morning, if I'm not wrong. This was another McDonald's, which was a few miles away from their apartment.
So he was carrying all these guns openly, like not even covered up. Or he must have put it in a bag probably to make it easier. for him to
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
No, I was
But yeah,
that image just flashed up in my mind. This dude just walks out of the car door with all the guns hanging on him, and nobody is alarmed. Literally.
I have no idea what happened there. But yeah, this guy walks into the McDonald's. Cut back to the beginning of our story. When everyone is having a nice little morning. He first aims his gun at a 16-year-old employee called John Arnold.
Employee. Directly.
Yep, directly.
Okay, he wasn't playing chickens.
Nah. Aims his gun at John, and at this point, obviously, people are noticing and they're like, what the hell is happening? So
Shocked.
the assistant manager, assistant manager shouts out, he's like, bro, he's going to shoot you. And as he says that, Mr. Huberty clicks the trigger. But fortunately for John, there was some issue with the gun, I'm guessing.
Amateur
So
gunsmith indeed.
there was some issue with the gun, so the gun didn't fire. And now obviously he inspects the gun, and while this is happening, the manager of the restaurant, her name was Neva Kane, if I'm not wrong. Neva Kane.
Never came.
She was a 22-year-old girl. She just starts walking towards John, while John, thinking that this is some kind of prank, he starts walking away from Huberty. By this time,
John is
Huberty has
the
fixed it.
16-year-old employee.
Yes.
Okay.
He's a 16-year-old employee, and Neva is the manager. She's 22 years old. But this time he's fixed the gun. He sees Neva walking across the room, aims at her face, and boom. She gets hit under her left eye, and she dies.
Headshot,
And
basically. She had to die
Yeah.
with a shotgun. So yeah, her
Yeah.
face must be splattered at that point of time.
Yep. She died a few minutes later. And right after that, he looks over to John, who was the person he was aiming at first, and then shoots him in the chest and leg. But fortunately, Mr. John survives. And with this, obviously, everyone has gotten into panic mode, and they all get to the ground. And while they do so, Huberty yells something very suspicious. He says, "I've killed 1,000 and I will kill 1,000 more." I have no idea why he said this.
So is he implying that he has a criminal record which no one knows of?
I have absolutely no clue about this.
Or was he just throwing numbers?
He must have just been, disturbed or what. I have no idea why he said that. And he also called everybody.
This is probably putting a new direction in the case,
Yeah.
He might have secretly and no one really knows about it.
I mean, he did have guns in his possession.
Yep.
And he also yells, he calls everyone in the restaurant. I think there were around 45 people in the restaurant. He calls them, "Trigger warning, might trigger a few people. Dirty swine, Vietnamese assholes." Again, no idea why. This is in San Diego. So, anyways.
I don't get it, but yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, as he's ranting over there, he's shouting. Some customer whose name is Victor Rivera, he tries to coax him to be like, you can stop, you don't have to do this, blah blah blah. And in response to that, he gets shot 14 times.
Don't try to solve shit, just run. Don't
14 times.
ever try to solve shit, just run.
As he kept shooting him 14 times, he just kept yelling, "Shut up, shut up, shut up." Just imagine the amount of, stress in his head.
At this point,
But
I guess
whatever.
this man was gone beyond saving. So, I mean, yeah, he was gone beyond saving because he killed someone.
Many. Moving on. Once
Okay.
this, this whole scenario was done, he turns his attention towards, I think, around 6 or 7 women who were huddled up in a corner. And among those 6 women, there were a few kids as well.
Oh, please don't tell me.
Probably kind of the most saddest. I'm guessing.
Bruh.
Yeah. So he turns his attention towards his first victim from among that 6 women, 19-year-old Maria Colmenero Silva, and he kills her with a single gunshot to her chest. He then went to a poor little 9-year-old girl and shot her 9 times on her
He counted
stomach.
the age.
No, but these were the body parts that were shot. The stomach, the cheek, thigh, hip, leg, chest, back, armpit, and head.
Why? What did?
And she was only 9 years old.
Why? What did the kid do to you, bro?
After he was done with these 2, he moves on to another 15-year-old girl, Imelda, who is the sister of the 19-year-old girl. And he shoots her in the hand, but she doesn't die. She just suffers an injury to her hand. And with that same weapon, he shoots 11-year-old. I think these were all a bunch of kids. These weren't women. These were a bunch of kids.
How did the kids get up to the McDonald's all by themselves?
That we're coming to.
Okay.
Yeah. So then he shoots 11-year-old Aurora. But fortunately and unfortunately for Aurora, she was shielded by her 18-year-old aunt. Okay, yeah, she is still a kid. She was shielded by her 18-year-old aunt who was pregnant at the time. She was pregnant, and the saddest part is she was shot 48 times. Where this man got all this ammunition?
Nah, gun arms in USA is really easy to go by.
Well,
Ammo is
apparently-
in abundance over there.
Yeah.
Ammunition and guns is in abundance. You literally walk up to a grocery store, you'll be like, I need a 9mm Glock. Like, here. And you
But,
don't
like,
need a license, I'm guessing, there. Or
maybe-
even if you do, it's really fucking easy to get that license.
Anyways, so this 18-year-old pregnant aunt was shot dead 48 times, and as she flopped to the ground, sitting by her side was her 8-month-old kid,
Bro.
desperately crying, as he should. This man gets annoyed, and with a single shot to the back of the baby, he kills the baby. This man was a father of 2 kids. Just remember that. Moving on. I'm another thing I won't be telling. 21 people were killed and 19 others were wounded. I won't be giving out all the murders. I'm just going to be telling a few picked out
Highlight
ones.
ones.
Yeah, so don't come at me if I've missed out a few. I'm doing it on purpose. So anyways, after he's taken care of all these women, he notices
Girls,
a family.
you mean to say.
Girls, yes.
Yeah.
After he's done with all these girls and a baby, he goes out to the play area of the McDonald's and he notices a family sitting over there. Now this family
Boom, shoots them dead.
I mean, it's the same story everywhere, but the way these kills have been described is really heart-touching. And not heart-touching, it's heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking,
Not
yeah.
heart-touching. It's not heart-touching. So yeah, this family consisted of a husband whose name was Ronald, a wife whose name was Blythe, their kid whose name was Matao, and another kid whose name was Keith, and this guy was Matao's friend. He wasn't the brother, he was Matao's friend. And so as they notice Huberty coming towards them, Blythe shields her son, Matao, and Ronald shields Keith.
But my question is, they're sitting in the play area, right? Which
Yeah.
technically is outside the McDonald's.
Yes, he did go outside the McDonald's as well.
They heard the gunshots.
They could have ran. I don't know.
What were they doing? my guy. I don't understand this.
But anyways, yeah. So the husband Ronald, he was shot 6 times in his stomach, chest, arm, hip, shoulder and head, but he survived.
Wow,
Thomas
fighter.
also survived. He was kind of not fatally wounded. He was just wounded, but not that seriously for him to die. Unfortunately for Blythe and Matao, they suffered several gunshots to the head and they died almost instantly, which is very saddening to see for a husband. Anyways,
I mean, at
Moving
that
on.
point, Ronald must be thinking he was better off being dead, I'm guessing. Witnessing something
Actually,
like that,
is better off being dead.
yeah, and especially having somebody else's kid with you who ends up passing away under your supervision, and you are still alive. You have zero explanation for that kid's parents. Though it was a massacre.
Exactly.
Gone.
But yeah, anyways, Huberty also notices a bunch of 3 women who were also in the play area. One of the
Boom.
women died.
Dead.
Yeah, one of the women died. She was probably the only person who survived long enough to reach a hospital, but then just died after that. The other two managed to survive. And then this was the only, I think, the only family that made it out whole without dying.
But the
This
lady
was a
died,
Mexican.
right?
No, I'm coming to that
Okay.
family. Yeah, this was the only family that made it out alive. It was a Mexican couple. His name was Alonso, and the wife's name was Maricela, if I'm pronouncing that
Marcella,
right.
I guess.
No, the spelling is Maricela or Marikela something.
Okay, whatever. You guys know the pronunciation, so yeah.
And they had a 4-month-old baby, and they were just driving up to the
Thank
McDonald's.
God. Oh. Thank God they saw this guy shooting. They just drove off.
Oh no, they didn't drive.
Fuck,
They were
man.
driving to the McDonald's.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling they were driving to the McDonald's. They saw this guy shooting and they were like, fuck this.
Oh wait, I didn't complete the story. They were driving to the McDonald's. They went into the driveway. They see shattered glass. But Mr. Alonso thinks that
He's
it was
Fernando Alonso.
no, it was some renovation work going on. And he also assumes
You didn't get the
that
joke, is it?
I kind of missed it, I guess.
Yeah, that's what happens every time when you're narrating.
No, I didn't get the joke. I missed the point of the joke.
Never mind, just continue.
So, yeah, he assumes the shattered glass to be renovation work, and he also assumes Huberty, who is now walking towards their car with guns in his hand, for a repairman.
Wow.
And as usual, Huberty starts shooting at them. Maricela is wounded, not fatally, wounded seriously. My bad. She's wounded seriously. Her left eye is gone blind.
Critically wounded.
Critically wounded. Her left eye is gone blind permanently. Alonso was wounded in his chest and his arm. But the baby, which is just 4 month old, he is critically wounded in the neck and chest and abdomen. How that baby survived is a
Oh,
miracle.
the baby survived?
Yes.
Whoa.
Alonso immediately takes the baby. The wife is collapsed. She's collapsed. She's collapsed by the car. She takes the baby. Luckily for them, there was a woman standing there. He hands the baby over to her. The woman takes the baby. She rushes to a hospital nearby. And these two, they go into a building and they hide. So this was the only family that made it out alive. The baby survived. They survived.
I mean, surprising how the baby did survive.
Yeah. And now, as we are in the area, as Mr. Huberty is outside, he notices 3 boys riding a bicycle.
Boom, dead.
And these 3 boys are 11 years old. They're just cycling and, coming to get some sundaes. They hear someone screaming something which they couldn't, process at that point of time. And boom. These 3 boys were David, Joshua, and Omar. All 3 of them flop to the ground. Joshua is the only one that survives, and he recalls looking over to his friends, Omar, who has several shots on his back and is literally puking. He is puking as he is dying, whereas David had several shots to his head. Both of them died instantly.
Obviously.
Joshua was the only one that survived.
He booked it out of that, probably. That's why he survived.
No, he did suffer injuries. He was fallen on the ground. But he wasn't fatally wounded, unlike the other 2. For a guy that small to witness something of that.
Scarred for entire life, I'm guessing.
Nah, scarred, yeah. And now coming to, I think, maybe the last, sad kill. This was an elderly couple 74-year-old Miguel and 69-year-old Ida. Now this beats me. This is actually a very confusing thing because they were walking into the restaurant. How did they not notice things around them?
Bad eyesight, I guess.
Yeah, this was kind of sad because Miguel opens the door for his wife. As she is about to enter, she's shot in the face.
He came so far up to the door without noticing there was shattered glass and blood inside, and everyone inside was literally dead.
Or this could be... No, see, yeah, okay, yeah, no, it still doesn't make sense.
No, this one doesn't add up. I guess they must have died early on.
Must have. This could be different time zones because there is no time zone mentioned here.
Yeah, because no matter how old you are, you can still see blood on the floor and glass being cracked, fallen.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think
so
probably after he was done with the manager and the clerk, the
could be
cash register boy, John.
Could be.
These were the two who were walking in and got taken out.
Yeah, because come on, you can't. Nobody will freaking remember who was killed when. So yeah. But no, yeah. So Miguel opens the door for his wife. The wife is shot in the head. She flops to the ground. A survivor probably notices this man cradling his wife and just crying and just holding her face, looking at her face and like just crying and shouting curses at Huberty. Huberty just walks over to him.
Doesn't give two fucks.
Shouts, I think, curses back at him, and I think at around 4 p.m. when this whole thing just started, one of the first emergency calls were made, and at that time I think the baby had died or a kid had died, and so the person just said that someone is shooting a kid, so send help fast. And what happens is the dispatcher sends the dispatch unit to another McDonald's.
Wow. Wow. How can people botch up this much, man?
2 miles or 2 kilometers away. He mistook the address for something else, I'm guessing. And a lot of time was wasted in that. Probably if the dispatch unit had arrived a little bit sooner, maybe a few lives could have been saved.
Or maybe, she might have given the wrong address in a panic.
You never know. But this is what happened. If they had arrived a little bit earlier, probably a few lives would have been saved.
I feel really, really sad about whatever happened. Alright. So yeah, moving on to the floor plan. This can help you visualize the case quite a lot, with whatever happened. Not only you, even the viewers.
Okay. So anyways,
John,
10 minutes.
Office manager. She comes out probably somewhere over here, dead.
Yeah.
This guy somehow still survives.
He just gets shot in the chest and arm, so yeah.
Bunch of girls dead, all of them, sadly. How sad does this feel? Literally, I'm crossing out the people who are dead. How sad does this feel? The old couple dead at the entrance, literally at the entrance.
Literally.
That family of Ronald and the two
Blythe.
kids, Ronald, Blythe,
yes.
and then
the
2 kids over here somewhere, probably, who were cycling. One survived out of them.
Yes.
And then
you're crossing out, man. That's sad.
Yeah, Ronald survives, right? Fuck yeah.
Ronald and Keith survive.
Okay. Oh, so then 2 of them survived from... Fuck.
They both were wounded, but surprisingly...
Keith was Ronald's son.
No, Keith was the kid's friend.
Wow,
The
Sharon,
son and wife died.
I literally asked you that time. I was explaining how tough it is to explain to somebody else's parents when their child dies under your
Yeah, I was
supervision, and you
confused
just
about that, but I just
could
I
have
just
told
let
me.
it go. Just let it go. It's like let him live in his own world.
Yeah, very good. And then there
And
were
then
more, I'm
moving
guessing.
on.
There were more, I'm guessing, which you didn't
I
cover.
told you.
So,
Yes,
on a balance, let's take another 7.
21 people died, so
Okay,
a
so
lot of people.
oh my god, I can't even put that many X's. It's gonna look like a Christmas
That's
tree after
alright.
that.
You just need to know 21 people.
He does
died.
go into the drive-through area, right? If I'm not wrong. Because this.
That's where the Mexican couple was.
Okay, so their car was here.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, I drew a car somewhere else.
No, that's fine. That's where they were.
And then
That's
all
why
of them
they got
survived
shot.
in that.
Yes.
The kid,
Everybody
the
did.
wife, and
And the husband.
Fernando Alonso. Thank God.
He did.
So
He
that
did.
time, at that point of time, he was outside, isn't it? Oliver
Yes, he was outside.
So this is when the post office thing happens.
Yep.
Is it?
So this is when 10 minutes after that, that wrong call was made. Not the wrong call, but 10 minutes after they realized that they had gone to the wrong McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
They come back. Do you realize how much time has gone? 10 minutes equals to so many lives. But yeah, they come back. The first person on scene was another Miguel, another officer. SWAT officers are in place.
Oh,
They
were.
have-
So they were SWAT officers. Fuck, that was some.
One man. For one man.
That was some
They were
serious.
SWAT officers. Yep. SWAT officers, a lockdown had been declared for like around about 6 blocks. But the most confusing thing was these people didn't know if it was a gunman or gunmen. But then
Oh, so they were thinking there are multiple people involved in this situation.
exactly. And they also thought that these gunmen or gunman could have been, holding hostages, which is an even more dangerous situation.
Wow.
So, yeah, they were just very precautious about what they had to do. But then, luckily for them, a survivor who, ran out of the restaurant confirmed that it was just one person in there who was going haywire in the, restaurant.
That must have put them on their knees.
Yeah, it went so haywire that he started shooting at the
Cops as
police's.
well? My
Yeah,
God.
he started shooting at the cops' vehicles as well. But then, as the situation was getting, dire and dire, Charles Foster, Mr. Charles Foster,
This dude over
positioned himself at the top of a post office, and I think the view he had was somewhere near the service counter of the restaurant.
Okay. So
Looks like you did miss something after.
I mean, come on. I don't have the floor plans. This is straight out of my mind.
Kudos to him for, drawing a floor plan.
I wanted you people to understand this shit. Now you guys are going to throw shit at me for doing this. piece of junk.
Nah, come on guys. Put a, a star in the comments if you like this floor plan. Then we'll know you at least watched this much of the video.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
Yes. So anyways, he had a perfect view of the restaurant. He could see from the neck down. So it was good enough for a clear shot. Fires one round and shoots him exactly in his chest, severing his aorta, creating... this was exactly the detailed description of the kill. It went through his chest, severed his aorta, came out at the back, leaving a huge ass hole. And finally, Mr. Huberty is down.
Yep, he's crossed out.
And dead.
The suspect's down.
And dead.
James Huberty had fallen to a
But
sharpshooter's bullet.
my
One
God,
single bullet
you
killed
see
a
the
man who
massacre
had apparently
over
systematically fired.
21 people plus Huberty, so 22 dead
22 dead.
and many critically injured.
Mm,
I mean,
19.
there are more critically injured as well, which you haven't mentioned.
I mentioned how many ever were critically injured.
No, because I remember only handful, some 3 or 4.
There isn't a complete list of everyone as well. Even they have their own. Yeah. But there were a lot. And, the officers were still kind of confused. If this was the man, they went, still pointing their guns at him. He's fallen on the ground. They're just waiting if somebody else would pop out from somewhere.
Yeah, it makes sense. You need to make the perimeter safe before you can take further actions to clear out the scene.
Yeah. But then one small little girl comes running out and she goes like, yeah, this is the guy. He was the only guy. And so with that,
small girl,
a girl from inside the restaurant who survived.
She was alive?
Few people survived. Yes.
This dude was really, he was sick in the head, but
he was so sick in the head that one survivor, one of the survivors who was wounded probably and just playing dead, saw him walk over to the counter, turn on the radio. They just assumed he was trying to put on the news and see what's going on about him. He went on to turn on the music, started dancing to the music and killing people. That was the amount of fucked up he was in the head.
There were major factors which did play a major role in all this. So you can't really blame him. But yeah, that wraps the case.
That wraps the case. Aftermath was huge. The McDonald's got shut down, was demolished in fact, and in place of that a memorial was put up. I think that we put up a picture of the memorial. There are
all those pictures
pillars.
And all will be there.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of things happened. Probably.
That's
the biggest.
That's all I guess. Fuck. Many people died.
Officers were suffering. They didn't have sleep.
And professional help failed.
Everyone made 21 lives go to win.
Anyways, yep. That's it for this case. If you guys did like the total presentation, the story, the whatever it is, any aspect of the video, if you guys did enjoy that, do let us know down in the comment section.
Let us know. Yep.
Do your usual stuff of dropping a like. I'm getting sick now. I'm genuinely getting sick. My throat is aching and I'm
getting sleepy.
Yeah.
So just thank you for watching this.
Thanks a lot for tuning in. If you watched the video so far, we will catch you guys in the next one. So until then, stay safe. Love you all. Stay awesome, guys. Thanks for watching. And literally good night.
Good night. Literally.